Please on stage, Pasquale Junior Natuzzi, Chief Brand Officer, Natuzzi.
Thank you. Hello, 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 hello. So thank you for inviting me here. It's an honor and a pleasure to represent my company, the company I work for, that I happen to represent also as a second generation of, I call us Natuzzian in Natuzzi. And at the same time representing what I do for life, which is working as a Chief Brand Officer at Natuzzi, and also representing here today what I believe in, which is definitely a more human-centered design seen on a holistic standpoint, where of course manufacturing is and will be more crucial than ever in the years and periods to become. So let's start from how over time the sense of relevancy has been shifting. The pendulum has been moving from left and right to an extreme where product was the key and product innovation was the focus rather than the production process, what we were focused on. But as a matter of fact, what we're trying to, at least us in Natuzzi, trying to be more and more focused on is to mind the gap of design thinking and boundaries into the making to connect more and more users. Because as a matter of fact, users are today more aware than ever of what they want. They want to know the behind the scenes. They want to know how a product is made, how sustainable it is, what's the process behind it, where it is made from. So the information of the manufacturing process of the whole value chain are more and more relevant for consumers. So we have to get the advantage of minding the gap and connecting these two poles. At the same time, I work also as a creative director for the company, and I've seen how thinkers and makers, designers and engineers in manufacturing have been over time against each other, and I feel that we have to build bridges over these distractions and distortions, because more and more the two of them, so designers, thinkers, and not thinkers, like if manufacturers are not, but I mean the manufacturing side and the designer, more creative side, should be really working together, putting the end users or the consumers' end benefit at the core of it, having, again, a more human-centered design thinking approach. The interaction and how, let's say, vibrant and dynamic the customer experience and the path to purchase is able to be shown and displayed today, it's really amazing. This is a picture of a project that I've been honored to work on 5 years ago with Microsoft, developing the first mixed reality furniture store. So basically a store without physical products. A store in which the customer experience was happening only through HoloLens, so their mixed reality, virtual reality screens, allowing consumers to interact with their own needs, ideas, and tastes, because nowadays we feel consumers willing to be more and more designers themselves, stylists, creatives, being involved in the creative process, because contents from social media to social trends are there, are very active, are very next to them, are generated by them. And so I wanted to call this a user-generated product in a way, where consumers feel that, thrilled at putting their hands on product and on design, so that we have an opportunity here. We have an opportunity of taking this need of customization and deep fine-tuning on product design, taking this on a manufacturing standpoint, but being able also to manage the complexities that will derive and will come along, so that there is definitely an opportunity, but it's a trend. And it's a trend that will, again, connect consumers and manufacturers, while their needs, consumer needs, are getting more sophisticated, but also more, let's say, approachable for brands and manufacturers. Well, Natuzzi is a company that is focused on manufacturing and retail. So we call ourselves manu-tailors. And in retail, detail make a big difference, right? And the way we communicate our value is one of the main assets for us to win the battle among your competition. And for manufacturers, so not only retailers, bringing the value of the value chain, the value proposition, the design thinking, the social aspects of the whole entrepreneurship is something that often we do not focus very much. You know, in-store communication, taking the narrative at the core of the interaction with consumers so that they will know the value of what's behind the product. They will feel what I defined, you know, backstage. So let's bring the backstage, the behind the scenes, on the core, let's say, media where we interact with consumers, because value will be more and more appreciated, and eventually all of the battles that we are fighting for on supply chains disruption and manufacturing, again, disruption, will be also offset and leveraged by a more appreciation for the big efforts that are behind brands and companies. At the same time, let's say, digital evolution today allows us to blend the incredible opportunities of CRM, for instance, with everything happening in the upper funnel of the whole value chain process or the manufacturing side. Taking, for instance, real-time updates on production process and evolution of the production process to the consumers, involving them, making them active in the path to purchase, and feeling the real value of what's behind it, so that CRM, digital, and manufacturing more and more are blending, and we're seeing incredible results by giving messages, having constant updates, bringing the value also of the making without having, you know, a big question mark separating consumers from your lead time, but being involved in the process and understanding what's really behind it. And then again, connect, innovate, and maximize brand loyalty. We're seeing, using beacon technology, for instance, putting some digital hardware into our sofas, for instance, we are more and more involved in the life cycle process of our product. We know if quality issues happen during transportation or at consumer zones during the assembling, and we also can be interacting in the after sales and in customer care process to achieve the highest rate of customer satisfaction, using, again, Internet of Technology, using the incredible assets of CRM, but at the same time integrating these tools and these assets in the manufacturing side, so that the two poles of receiving a product and living with it, and for companies knowing how people are living, are interacting, are dealing with it, that could be really relevant, and we're seeing great results. So I wanted to be quick. Now I think we will have a chat and a more open interaction, and I'll be happy to answer any question or deep dive into what I just said. Please. Which side? There?
Yeah, please.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I want to start basically with the title of this chat. So why is customer experience so important in enhancing value chain's resilience from your point of view?
I feel that boundaries for brands to break into markets today are very little. You know, digitalization, digital transaction, e-commerce, startup, they can get into the market and really threaten big companies with new ideas and their agility and dynamism, so that for big companies, or anyways companies with a big heritage, you know, finding how and what's more relevant for consumers, for them, how to make them create a community of consumers that will love your brand because you ensured them a great experience, is what I feel every brand should be focused on now, right? So that once experiences become what consumers want, great experiences, memorable experiences for them to feel loyal and part of that brand, part of that community is a challenge not only for the marketing side, but at the same time also for the manufacturing side. So that what I try to represent here is that there's a need for consumers to be part of the process, to know more, to engage, to blend their expectation with realization of what it really is in the manufacturing and in the making for companies, and sharing information. And today it's not easy because, of course, improving and implementing such a technology or innovation in the production process is not the easiest thing, but there is value there, and having companies able to take the most relevant information, make them, let me say, sexy enough for consumer to read them, understand them, appreciate them, will generate great value. And nowadays, where we've seen, for instance, during COVID, a huge supply chain disruption, logistics issues, so that consumers weren't really understanding why manufacturers were unfortunately having such a long lead time in catering their value, their products, their offerings, so that having a more, let's say, open boundaries interaction between the two of them has been really fundamental and crucial. So the idea of having real time, I was looking a few days ago, an automotive company that was running a social media campaign showing, the time lapse of a machine, the engine being produced, and it's just I think thrilling. It's really remarkable for consumer to know what's behind it and feel engaged with that side.
Well, but has pandemic changed customer experience basically forever, in your opinion?
Well, forever, I think for sure it changed dramatically. I think we are living a transition where changes are on a constant basis and daily basis part of what we as managers and companies and entrepreneurs we should interpret. But a big shift has been generated by pandemic because definitely digital has become in handy, so that people are more used to interact with brands and companies and products on a digital standpoint. People are eventually willing to buy digital first, then physical, as eventually it used to be before a pandemic. So the main change that I've seen in our industry is that we've been saying digital first for many years in a variety of industries. Most likely the furniture hasn't been so advanced and focused on that, but since COVID, all the events fair turned from physical to, for instance, virtual reality, mixed reality, immersive worlds. We are running trade shows and fairs on digital. We are bringing the big assets of mixed reality tools such as that VR in stores, and we're seeing how that playful side of your path to purchase, of your store experience, is something that consumers see and somehow expect as something that a brand should grant. So I definitely saw that, but I also believe that we've learned during pandemic that relevancy and real contents and quality of life, environments, homes, so that thank God furniture interior design company had some great times during pandemic, because I felt, I saw, I experienced, I learned, I talked to people that really realized how real values, the comfort in life, aside from getting out of the comfort zone quotes, but real comfort in your nest, in your home, is something that people want. So we are interpreting the two trends, leveraging on those assets. Yeah.
And where do you see customer experience in the next 5, 10 years? Maybe in the metaverse? What's your opinion on that?
I'm not a big fan of metaverse, to be honest, nor NFTs, nor I like real economy in a way, and I like physical, I like real, I like values, I like human interactions. But there's a big room of opportunities in blending the two sides of the moon. It's light and dark one, so the digital and physical, by creating a continuous interaction where your data, your preferences, whether they're being delivered and expressed physically in a store or digitally while you're browsing, can be leveraged with the use of them and with a good data and marketing strategy where consumer will feel not tracked, but well supported, well driven throughout the path to purchase again. So there I see a big change. Honestly, the designers, consumers willing to be more and more involved in the design process, to customize, to interact with product, gives a big opportunity for brands, whether they're in lifestyle, it could be fashion, art, design, to create customer experience that can be memorable, that can be unique, because we're filled with products, whether it's your wardrobe or your homes, so that really the story, the narrative, the storytelling, the experience that you try to create, trying to make the intangible assets of a lifestyle tangible, is what people want to have. They want to really embrace the brand with memorable experiences. And how brands will be able to do that by using branding, marketing, IoT, digital and physical assets and tools and opportunities. I think it's where we will have to find the right formula and balance.
And what's the biggest challenge you see going forward for Made in Italy? Many challenges.
Many challenges. Well, I feel that new generations of consumers, not by birth, by attitude. I often say we refer to millennials by attitude. People that today, before they search who you are on Instagram, for instance, right? They search who you are as a brand. They browse you on Instagram. They're really dynamic and social first, and they want to have the whole picture of who you are and what you stand for, right? So nowadays, sustainability and how ESG and brands show their attention to these contents, these messages, these values of ethics are becoming more important than assets of heritage or made in Italy that are a big claim and standard of quality, for instance, of history, of heritage, that possibly new generations don't really care of. So bringing the backstage to the main stage. So being able to use branding and marketing and design thinking to leverage on the big efforts of heritage, culture there's behind Italian companies, to overcome boundaries of globalization, very hard competitiveness that we can achieve, because we as Italian companies, we're very pricey. We can't compete with many countries, many producers out there, and so being able to get the message of what's behind, what's within the value chain, take it at the core, to the heart of consumers, leverage on that, being great storytellers, focused on how we can build beautiful stories of customers' experience, for instance, as a brand, and be also dynamic in the way we take our value proposition to consumers, is something in which we have to become maybe more dynamic, so learn from companies that might be out there in Silicon Valley or somewhere in Scandinavia, being excellent digital savvies or excellent sustainable companies. So taking these huge trends that are definitely values that consumers and new consumers believe in, take them and reinterpret them with our great assets of creativity, know-how, and heritage.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Pasquale Junior Natuzzi, Chief Brand Officer of Natuzzi. An applause for Pasquale.
Thank you. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Grazie, ciao.